We'll be returning to him later, but meanwhile, let's follow our researcher, Jamie Ross. For 6 months now, in the guise of 12-year-old Lucy, Jamie has been conducting a romantic relationship with a boy of 13 called Tom. Innocent, charming, perfectly acceptable. Nothing more than a pen friendship. Tom has now suggested they meet. Our language experts have analysed the emails and messages that Tom has been sending Lucy, and they have determined that they were composed by an educated adult. Jamie. The Cotter atrium watched with barely suppressed giggles as an earnest reporter stood on the corner of Argyle Street and Great Marlborough Street, talking in a hushed whisper. A small girl stood nervously beside him. Any moment now, I will be going into Weisenheimer's, a hamburger restaurant popular with young people just 50 yards from London's famous Oxford Circus, for an assignation with Tom. He will be expecting a small girl, so I've brought along my daughter, Zoe. In my rucksack, I have a hidden camera and sound recorder. The police are standing by to make an arrest if it turns out, as we strongly suspect, that Tom is an adult masquerading as a child. Here goes. A grainy but acceptable picture came on screen as the reporter, Jamie Ross, entered the restaurant and sat at a table, pointing his wide-angled briefcase at the door. His daughter Zoe came in a second or two later and sat at another table. So far, breathed Jamie into his radio mic, nothing. Mostly young people here, tourists by the look of them, a few adults spread out at different tables. The ideal spot for this kind of rendezvous, perhaps. Ah, what's this? A small, nervous-looking boy of 12 or 13 had entered the restaurant, taken one look at Zoe, another at the table where Jamie sat with his camera bag, and then sat down at an empty table. Well, perhaps our experts were wrong. The disappointment in Jamie's voice was palpable. Experts? Wrong? The crowd gathered in the Cotter atrium were enjoying themselves hugely. Surely not. Perhaps I should ask him what he's doing there. Jamie picked up his camera bag and moved towards the young boy. "Hello there," he said, placing the bag on the table between them. "Your name isn't Tom by any chance?" The boy made no verbal reply, but stood up and pointed. Instantly, from different tables, half a dozen men and women sprang forward and surrounded the astonished Jamie. "You're under arrest," said one, attaching handcuffs, "on suspicion of luring a minor." "Wait a minute, I'm Jamie Ross from the BBC. You do not have to say anything in your defence, but I must warn you that silence may be interpreted—" The screen went blank for a second, before cutting back to the studio and a rather flustered Ashley Barson Garland. Well," he said, "it looks as though, that is to say—" In the CDC atrium, Albert and the female coder were rolling around, honking with laughter like seals. "Shh," said Cotter. "Let's not miss the rest of it." It seems that perhaps this was a case of two minds with but a single thought," Ashley continued, drawing on all his reserves of aplomb. "Two hearts beating each to each." "What?" roared Albert, writhing with delight. "Has he gone completely tonto?" "Robert Browning," said Simon. "When the mind goes, reflex literary quotation takes over. But nonetheless, a lesson to be drawn there. The world of the chat room clearly arouses enough parental concern to cause a great deal of worry. We will bring you, of course, news of Jamie Ross's release as soon as it comes." "Who's looking after Zoe?" Well, no doubt, Ashley looked up at the bank of studio audience to identify the heckler. "I'm sure she's—" "Someone has just left a 12-year-old girl alone in a West End burger joint. I can see it on the monitor above. She's just sitting there on her own. I'm sure Jamie will inform the police right away." "Call that responsible?" Mr. Messiter, it's you. Too right it's me. Hoist with your own petard there, weren't you? Mr. Messiter seems very interested in the fate of unprotected children, ladies and gentlemen. Ashley swiftly regained his composure. Yet his company continues to open the porn portals of the internet to all, without accepting responsibility. He even manages to blame the parents. It's their fault. If they only bought expensive and complex software to guard their children's access, then all would be well. It isn't expensive. It's available free on... Well, let me now introduce you to an expert in the field of internet security. From Kotter.com, Cosima Kretschmer.